Hey guys, today we are canning chicken breasts using the raw pack method. This means we don't have any prep work beforehand. I do like to cut the chicken breasts into large chunks just so they fit better inside the jars, but that's not even necessary. You don't have to do that. You could simply place the whole chicken breast into the jar, assuming they fit and you have enough headspace. Canning chicken is a great way to free up freezer space, or if you don't have the freezer space, you can can chicken, and it's also a nice way to prepare meals throughout the week when you're in a hurry. It's quick, it's easy, you don't have to thaw anything out, and it's already cooked, so preparing meals is very simple with the canned chicken. Let's get started. Begin filling your pressure canner with about 2 to 3 inches of water in the bottom of the pot. After we've added water to the pot, we can go ahead and turn the heat on. I normally start about medium high, and just to get the water starting to heat up while we prepare the jars. Then add about 3 tablespoons of white distilled vinegar, and this will help to keep the cloudy residue from building up on the exterior of the jars. Next, place the rack in the bottom of the pot to help protect the jars. Now it's time to fill the jars. Although we did clean these jars beforehand, there was no need to sterilize them because this recipe is going to exceed 10 minutes of processing time. So again, no sterilization was needed here. If desired, add half a teaspoon of canning salt to each pint jar, or a full teaspoon for quarts. Here we're using pints, so we'll go ahead and add half a teaspoon to each one. Loosely pack the raw chicken pieces, leaving 1 1/4 inches of headspace on the top. I'm using a funnel just because it helps to get the chicken into the jars a little bit quicker, and it also helps to keep from getting any food particles on the outside of the jar. After I've filled the jars, I can see that some of them are not full enough, so I'll add a few more pieces, and I'm just placing them in there. I'm not packing the chicken down. We need to just set these in there loosely. Now we'll wipe the rims of each of these jars with distilled vinegar and a paper towel. This just removes any particles that may be setting on top of the jars and keep them possibly from sealing. Using the lid lifter, place the lids on the jars, and after we have all of the lids on, we can place the bands on each jar, and we want to make sure that they're just finger tight. We don't need to crank down on those. After you've placed the jars in the bottom of the pot, if you have additional jars to add, make sure that you separate the next layer of jars with a canning rack. And now we'll start adding in the remaining jars. With this batch, I didn't have enough chicken to fill all of the jars that fit inside of this pressure canner. So what I did is, for the extra jars, I just filled them with water, and then I placed the reusable Tatler lids on top of those jars. That way I'm not wasting one of the disposable lids. I can just remove these when we're done, rinse them out, and store them away for the next use. Place the lid on the canner, screw on the wing nuts, and we'll start on opposite sides and just screw them down loosely. And then after each one of the wing nuts is screwed down, we can start to tighten them. Allow the steam to continuously vent for 10 minutes, then place the weight over the vent pipe. I'm using a 10-pound weight because of my elevation, so if you're at 0 to 1,000 feet in elevation, use the 10-pound weight. Anything over 1,000 feet would be 15 pounds. After the first jiggle, set the timer for 75 minutes if processing in pints, or 90 minutes if you're processing in quarts. When the time is up, turn off the heat and wait until the pressure drops to 0 pounds before removing the weight. Remove the lid and lift it away from your face. Gently remove the jars from the pot and place either on a cooling rack or a towel. Allow the jars to cool for 12 to 24 hours. After the jars have cooled completely, Remove the bands and clean off any residue on the exterior of the jars if needed. Label with the name of what you canned and the canning date. Be sure to include the year. Although it is more efficient to use the raw pack method of canning chicken, I will admit it does not look very appetizing. Don't panic though, the juices will be below the chicken. This is perfectly normal and safe to eat. Finally, store in a dark, cool, relatively dry place for up to 1 year. Canning is so gosh. Canning chicken is so easy and will save you a lot of time in the long run. If you're interested in learning more about the equipment that we use today or just pressure canning in general, take a look at our pressure canning A to Z video linked down in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you again soon.